Well, I know that you're aware of the situation that has occurred over the weekend and leading up to this point. There's some things that we know definitely. There are some things that are in process. And so I'm going to turn it over to the chief, who will give you whatever information he can give you at this time.
Thanks, Mayor. Good evening. Folks, we come here with heavy hearts. I'm sure you understand. Today at approximately 4 o'clock, a body of a small child matching the description of Emilliano Terry was discovered at a waste treatment plant in Oakwood Village. At this time, we have suspended the search for Emilliano Terry pending a ruling from the coroner's office tomorrow morning. So in other words, right now, currently, we are treating this as a homicide rather than a missing person or an abduction. With that said, I'm going to turn the podium over to Commander McCauley, and he will be able to provide you with additional details on what led us out to this waste treatment plant and how it proceeded from there. And once he's completed, and then DC Tamba will come to the podium and advise you on how we're going to proceed with the investigation at this time. So, Commander, would you step up here, please?
Thanks, Chief. Like the Chief said, we're saddened to report that we believe that the body of Emilliano Terry has been discovered. I'd like to give you a synopsis of the investigation, how it led to where we are today. Yesterday at about 5:07 p.m., our radio dispatch center received a call from Miss Terry stating that her 3-year-old son, Emilliano, was missing from the park at East 121st and Williams. 4th District officers were dispatched and responded and immediately started to search the surrounding area. When Emilliano could not be located, they moved that search to East 130th and Buckeye, where Miss Terry resides. As part of a routine missing persons investigation, they checked her residence to see if Emilliano was inside. When Emilliano was not located inside of the residence, they contacted me and I responded to the scene to assess the situation. And I contacted my boss, Deputy Chief Williams, and discussed the possibility of getting the information out to the media. It was decided that the incident did not meet the criteria of an Amber Alert, so we contacted Detective Chach, who decided to do a missing persons alert and asked the assistance of the media in helping us to locate Emilliano. It was around that same time that I contacted Deputy Chief Tamba and requested the assistance of the CART team, the Combined Abduction Response Team. That led multiple FBI agents to respond to the 4th District, where they assisted us with a virtual command center and with putting agents out on the street in order to go door to door, pass out flyers, and get information about the whereabouts of Emilliano. Sometime during the day of today, the statements of Ms. Terry became very inconsistent, and we decided that we would further investigate her involvement in this situation. While we were investigating that, agents in the area of East 130th and Buckeye observed a waste collection truck operating and contacted the driver of that truck and got his information, and then contacted the waste management place to ask the manager of that place if they would set aside the contents of that truck so it could be further examined. And at that point, from what we discovered during that examination, this investigation became a homicide investigation. And that's when Deputy Chief Tamba stepped in.
This afternoon, out in Oakwood Village at the waste management plant, the members of the FBI's evidence response team responded out there, and they started sifting through the trash from the dumpster that was taken from 130th and Buckeye. And during that search, in a series of plastic bags, was found what we believe to be the body of a young child. We secured the scene, and we notified our medical examiner's office and members of our homicide unit to respond to the scene. The scene was processed, The body was taken intact in the bags to the medical examiner's office. Tomorrow morning, a postmortem exam will be performed on the child's body to determine the cause of death. Subsequent to that, members of the homicide unit will obtain a search warrant, and we will continue to search for evidence. The mother is under arrest. She's in our custody, and we are going to consult with a prosecutor in the morning upon completion of that search warrant to seek charges as appropriate through the conference with our prosecutor's office. So right now, the investigation is in the hands of the Cleveland Division of Police Homicide Unit. And on a side note, I'd just like to acknowledge and thank the FBI and our partners for their assistance and the heads-up detective work by those FBI agents to think about that, to get the number of that truck. Waste Management was very, very cooperative, as was Oakwood Village Police with our investigation. So we are completed over at the Waste Management site, and we're still gathering facts. If anyone has any questions.
I have a question. We had heard that the boy had been killed Friday, or had been dead since Friday, that the mother said that he'd been dead since Friday. So he'd been in the trash can behind the building for 2 days?
Well, that actually has not been determined. We're hoping that the medical examiner can provide us a little guidance in that. She was interviewed. We're not going to discuss, what was discussed during that interview with the mother, but we're going to take our lead from the medical examiner. We have to deal in facts. We're treating this as a homicide, but we will take our guidance through the forensic testing, whatever they tell us tomorrow.
Can I just clarify, the waste management truck was observed near her home, so this is where, not the park? It's
No, the waste management truck was leaving the area of her residence when the FBI agents were canvassing the area. They noticed it. They got the number of the truck. They called Waste Management. They identified themselves. They told them what the purpose was. The manager at the waste management treatment plant said not a problem. They went, they dumped their load, and they said this is exactly where it's at. And the FBI evidence response team responded out there within minutes and started to process it.
Real
Was
quick,
that
you
this
said a
afternoon?
series of bags. The body was intact. It was in one bag.
Right. It was in, I'll clarify that. When I say a series of bags, there was 4 or 5 different bags as the agents were looking. They were pulling them apart, and there was 1, 2, 3, and then the final bag is where they found the body.
So it was
So
a bag within a bag.
bag within a bag with, yes, exactly.
Was that this afternoon when the FBI saw the truck and this whole thing started up? When did that happen, when the whole thing started to unfold with the truck?
That was this afternoon about 2 o'clock? Yeah, it was this afternoon about 2 o'clock.
Did she live in an apartment or a house? Or?
Commander?
She lives in, she lives in an apartment in the area of East 130th and Buckeye Road.
Do you think she'll be the only one facing charges?
Well, as of right now, yes, but, we'll see where the investigation takes us. But as of right now, she's the only one under arrest, and she's the only one that will seek charges against. She did have 2 other children. 2 other children are in the care of the Department of Children and Family Services now.
There'll be more information that'll be available following the investigation done by the medical examiner's office. We'd also like to thank our community partners and the public for their assistance in this case, because we got a real big response on all of our postings and from the media. Our partners at Clear Channel were great in posting the child's photograph on their billboards as well. So it's important to give thanks to the community and to our partners and all the volunteers and all the officers who, came in and worked overtime to keep this search going. We offer our thanks and also our sympathies to anyone who loved or cared for this child, because it's a very sad case. So there'll be more information probably available tomorrow when the medical examiner's office completes their investigation.
Where were the other 2 children? I'm sorry.
They're in the care of the County Department of Children and Family Services.
Okay, do you know their age?
No, I don't. I don't off the top of my
And
head.
she's right now being held just on pending investigation.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
One more really quick favor, a second.
She's sick.
We- Is there anything that anyone learned about this little boy during the investigation? I mean, we have an adorable little 3-year-old picture, and we don't know anything about him other than he was killed. Is there any sort of story that anybody can tell us about him?
Unfortunately, the statements that were coming from the mother were inconsistent, so we only have limited information about the children, so we don't know why, out of her 3 children, this is the one that suffered the demise.
She made no admission to you of guilt?
She did
in the
not.
interviewing
Not to
process?
me, no.
No one else involved in this, boyfriend in the home?
Not that we're aware of. Not that we're aware of right now.
Most of these are going to be things that'll come out later. This is all part of the investigation, the questions you're asking right now.
Sure.
Commander, what is your name? I'm sorry.
Macaulay, McCauley.
And your first name?
Deon, D-E-O-N.
2 L's, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thanks, folks.